It's the 20th of January. It's a pretty nice day today, not a lot of wind, a little bit of sunshine. This is a 7-acre field, but I've been splitting it long ways up across the field in about acre strips roughly, and then splitting that into 4 and moving them every day. So the patch that they're on now is about 1/4 of an acre, and they were on that little bit there yesterday. You can quite see the difference in the grass, just about. See, it's different colour. So they were on that yesterday. This is where they haven't been. That's where they were yesterday. This is where obviously they've been for the last 24 hours. And as we get up across the field, there's more grass, and the reason for that is the last time they were in here and they were on strips like this, was well, there was all about 80 of them, and I gave them the whole acre strip, and obviously they lie at the top of the hedge, and that's where they toilet, and the grass grows better up there. So that's the reason for splitting them onto smaller patches. Because I'm talking, they think I'm going to move them, but I am going to move them in a minute. But I've got to pick up the lower fence that was behind them and put it up here halfway between, and then I'll just open the fence and let them through. So they're only on one strand all the way around. Only took me a couple of minutes to just pick that fence up. Now they're not going to go back down on what they were on yesterday. They're here waiting to go back. Always moving them uphill is much easier than moving them downhill. And I always tend to move them at the same end, and if you're going to move them across the hill, you want to move them at the top end rather than the bottom end, for the same reason. They just prefer going uphill. If you're on a level field, doesn't make any difference, put them wherever you want. So there's quite a bit of grass, actually, more, like I said, as we go up there's more grass, and it's grown quite a bit in the last week. Nothing's been in here for about 8 or 9 weeks, and didn't grow a lot in December. It was cold, but it has warmed up a little bit. We've had some warmer days, and the sun's been shining a little bit, and the grass has started growing, and you can actually see where they've been, it's a bit greener. Anyway, I'm going to move them here. They're not at all hungry, but I don't want them to get hungry. I don't want them to get hungry because they're still growing. Obviously they were born April last year, so what are they, 9 months old, and they're going to be lambing in April this year, so in about 3 months. I want to keep them growing, keep them moving, so they're not hungry, but they know I'm going to move the fence. Come on, girls, come on. So I want to pull the fence back. Like I said, they're not hungry at all. If they were hungry, they'd really come running up through, but they've got plenty of grass left there. Really, I could leave them a few more hours in. Come on, girls. Chip, 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 chip. So yeah, they know when I've opened the fence up, and they're not that hungry, but they'll come up through. Fresh grass, they'll come straight up and start eating, even though they're not hungry at all. And so the piece I've given them now is a bit smaller than yesterday's piece. Pasted out, and I know that the fence, I don't know if you can see it very clearly, but it's actually 25 meters up and 30 meters across. So there you go, they've already found where the fence is, and it's not on at the moment because I've switched it off to move it, but there's only one strand. They know what it is, and they won't go across it. Well, they haven't done yet anyway. So what did I say? It's 750 square meters, and so there's 4,000 square meters roughly in an acre. So less than 0.2 of an acre, and they're about £100 each. So if you're going to work that out, doing maths, it's just over 10,000, nearly 11,000 pounds per acre. I've heard people saying that when they're moving their sheep, but I've heard people saying 100,000 and 500,000, even £1 million of weight of animals per acre, mostly with cattle. But I wonder what £1 million of acres of sheep looks like. This is the view of the field from the gateway, and you can see the sheep there in their little 0.2 or a bit less than 0.2 of an acre patch, and the rest of the field, so they're working their way this way. So this is a bit they haven't been on. And there you go, you can see they're in a pretty small patch compared to the whole field. And they'll be there just over 24 hours. All the ewes and the rams actually are here in the shed, because I've just shorn them, finished last week, well actually earlier this week. It took me about, I don't know, 5 or 6 days, did about 10 a day, just in between other jobs. I've made a video before about me shearing, so I didn't bother to record any of that, but I've got a video if you want to see me shearing. It's not very pretty, but it got the wool off, and they're here in the shed. They're eating hay, so I've got one bale of hay here, and then over here this is silage, which is pretty dry silage, but it's really nice. They like that better, so I ration them a little bit on the silage, otherwise they just eat the silage and not bother with the hay. But they're in pretty much exactly the right condition that I like them in at this time, so they'll be in here for about 10 days after I finish shearing them, and then they'll be back out on the grass, and that's the only time they spend in the shed, just a little bit of time. Another thing just to note, I haven't got, or I'm not bedding any straw in this shed for 2 or 3 years. Obviously they pull a bit of hay out and spread that around, and they're certainly not dirty or wet in here. And then over in this side, it's a bit darker, hard to see, but it's basically turned to dust, and they lie over here and they dung here, and then they just sort of self-cover it, and they don't get wet or smelly. No smell in here at all, and I don't have to use any straw. And I put the pigs in here, and when the sheep have got out, they're only in here for a couple of weeks, and then the ewe lambs will be in here for a couple of weeks. Then I'll put the pigs in here for a while, not long, a week or so. They'll dig it all around a little bit, then it dries out and composts a bit, I suppose, through the summer, and then that's it. Sheep come back in again. I don't really clean it out, but like I said, they're not here all winter, but that works for me. These are all in lamb, and this is the first year I've kept the rams with them even after they're all in lamb. But I haven't scanned them or checked that they're all in lamb, but I tend to only have 1 or 2 ewes every year which don't lamb. And if I get a couple that lamb late, then I shan't worry too much about it. I'll send them on with their lambs. If they do lamb late, it won't be a big problem. So I'll take the rams out before they start lambing, but for now they're staying with them. So they seem to be running low on water. This is the trough. It's dark, can't see it in there, but not a lot of water. Now that's gravity fed from a trough outside that catches water from the roof, so it's not on mains. And we haven't had any rain for a few days, but there is still half a tank there, but obviously not running fast enough. Doesn't take much rain to fill it up, but we haven't had any rain for 3 or 4 days, and obviously just eating dry hay and pretty dry silage, and these are drinking probably quite fast. So it's run fine down to this level, but no rain forecast. So I've rigged up this pipe, which is just about long enough. I've got a bit of a problem over here. So I've got an old pump, but I haven't got a fitting to connect it into, so I've just stuffed it in the pipe and tried to screw that up, which is not sealed very well by the looks of it. So it's just a submersible pump, and there's another 500 gallon trough here which collects water off of this roof, and this is where the cows used to drink, but we haven't got any cows anymore. So I've got 500 gallons of water here, and I need to get half of it over in that tank, so I'm gonna have to try and do a better job at this, but hopefully that'll work. Right, so I got pretty wet trying to sort that out, but I couldn't do anything about it, and I realised that there's plenty of water running out anyway. It's just an inch pipe, and it's probably an 1.5 inch pipe on the pump, so it won't all fit in this one. So anyway, I got a bit wet sorting that out, but it's not that cold, so it was fine. Just thought I'd explain how this this system has worked. Obviously collecting the water from the roof there, and the trough, we put it up on blocks, and then it siphons out of this trough, and it goes under the gap between the sheds here. That's where the silage pit is up there, and it just goes down actually not that pipe there, that pipe there, and it goes down underneath and then up inside. This is the original pipe that was put in, so it goes up there, and just the other side of this wall is where the sheep are and the trough. So it basically just siphons, but obviously the sheep are, it was 60 odd sheep in there, and they're drinking a fair bit of water, and it's just, you know, I've had this set up for probably 5 or 6 years, and this is the first time I've had this problem at the top of this trough up. But usually when the sheep are in there, it rains every day. It doesn't take a lot of rain to fill it up, but there we go, not enough rain. That's unusual for Cornwall, isn't it? But nice problem to have, I suppose, but I think we'll sort it out. I'm monitoring how much weight this beehive is losing through the winter, and I've got a jug here with a litre of water in, which weighs 1 kilo, and then when the scales balance out, I'm pouring the jug into this drum and writing down the date. And so we started on the 1st of December. Don't worry about that -2, that's before then. So since 1st of December, it took 19 days to drop the first kilo, and since then it's been 10 days. So the question is, why did it take 19 days to lose the first kilo? Either it was operator error, but more than likely, I don't think it was actually really cold, below freezing by day and night for the first 10 or 12 days there in December, and I think they've just used less weight there in that period. That's the theory anyway. Since then, pretty steady, 100 grams a day. So, chicken and ducks getting on okay. There's still got problems with a couple of ducks jumping up on top, sort of getting to the bottom of that. Mostly are just roosting on the gate here. Ducks are flying around as well. Doing some pretty good flying in here actually, considering how much room they've got. That one's not, but there's a couple of them that are. They'll fly right around from making a big C shape from one side to the other. They'll get off as I go by here. Come on, girls. Go on. Yeah, so I think maybe it's the younger ones that are flying properly. The others just sort of jump up and down, the older ones. But anyway, they won't do it when I'm filming, for sure. So you can see they've had a pretty good go. I haven't knocked down any of the sweet corn there. The ducks have done that. There's still a few left standing, and the ducks are eating it as well, I've seen. Eating the stems out. So there must be something in there they like. Pretty much destroyed everything in this side. I've got the water coming in there. But yeah, everybody seems happy. And why wouldn't they be? In here, in this weather. And the chickens are laying as well still. There's 2 in there laying now. While we're out and about having a look at stuff today, I thought I'd just have a quick look at the patch here where we had, this is where the sweet corn was last year, and the sunflowers behind. And remember, I undersowed that with daikon radish, phacelia, and then after it finished I oversowed it with rye, cereal rye. And the phacelia you see growing here in amongst the rye and the radishes, daikons, which is quite a lot of, they were all from self-seed, because they seeded in the mix in the summer, and then I raked it over with the vibrotiller, put the rye in the middle of October, early to middle October, and obviously January now. So it hasn't done a lot for the last couple of months, but it did grow up and it's here. So this is what it looks like end of January. And this is the spot. If you look back through, you can see that's where the mulch was. So there is a lot less there. So that was the lower side of the sweet corn. That's where the mulch was, and that was the higher side of the sweet corn. So even though the pigs came in here and dug up all the mulch, in where the mulch was, we've still got the cereal rye, but we've got a bit less of everything else, including grass, because we have got a bit of grass growing in amongst the cereal rye here as well.